morning. I'm super happy to have another one of these where we have deep dive conversations, and I'm super proud and happy to have Nils here today with me from Holoride. So very warm welcome to our presence here at Dolby House in Munich.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And well, why don't we start off by, first introducing yourself. What do you do? What do you do, Nils? And what does Holoride do?
Yeah,
do you want to start?
Hi, my name is Nils. I'm a co-founder and CEO of a company called Holoride. We started in 2015 with a project at a car manufacturer where we evaluated how we can use real-time car data to enhance the passenger journey. And so it's a decade of a journey of ourselves trying and experiment with different entertainment formats. And we started Holoride as a separate company in 2019, where we focused on immersive in-car entertainment. And last year we did a larger pivot with our business model and also with the use cases we are offering with our technology. And the core of our tech is a spatial perception engine. This is how we call it. It uses real-time data from the car and the environment and makes it accessible for content services on the IVI, as an in-vehicle infotainment system, or personal devices.
Okay, so real-time data from the car. Real-time means what? The fuel? No,
it could be the fuel or electricity level, but it's mostly acceleration, braking, steering, GPS position, navigation route, plus map data and the different POIs. And can also be other data like camera feed, object detections, all different kinds of information that is available in the car.
So you're working together with the OEMs to understand what real-time data they have from
Partly.
From the bus?
Partly. A lot of the data today is accessible via Android Automotive operating system. So if you build applications that, for example, work with Google built-in, you get access to a lot of data. So this is not necessarily the rocket science. If you want more special data like the camera feed, object detection, of course, you need to work closely with a tier 1 or an OEM. However, a lot of data is already accessible. The magic actually happens in taking this data and calculate a pose and the position of the vehicle in real time and transfer this information to apps and agents on the IVI or personal devices so that you don't have any latency in processing this data and you can really offer real-time services in the car.
So it seems, I've just done the demo, I'm still amazed, and I think we're just scratching the surface of what's possible. But can you talk maybe the audience here a little bit through what the user journey actually is? What is that experience? What is possible? Can you give an idea?
Maybe before I start talking specifically about what we are showing together here at IAA, the Spatial Perception Engine is one part of our tech stack. The second one, and this is where we are more or less aligned strategically, we also have an ecosystem play. We have created a so-called software development kit for creators, so that you have a easy-to-use tool set to build applications for the car that use real-time information. And it can be anything from real-time audio experiences, improving video services, have interactive games, or even commercial use cases. So anything is possible. And when we did our pivot last year, we are currently helping partners to create those apps. We are not necessarily designing the content ourselves. In some cases we help doing this, but we license our technology and help them build something. So for our joint use case, we tried something radical new. I mean, you guys are known for the best spatial sound experience in the car. We expanded this to a geospatial level. So what happens now in the demo is we have a Polestar 3 equipped with Dolby Atmos, and you drive through the city, and instead of just having a spatial sound experience in the cabin, we tie sounds to points of interest, to buildings, to locations in the city. So you drive by and you have an acoustic effect by incorporating the real world. Basically, the sound expands beyond the cabin and makes it more immersive. And this is what we're showing together. So the demo it's an early tech demo. It shows what's possible. You get into the car, you'll be driven around here in Munich, and you get a city guide, and the sounds are tied to specific locations, and then it suddenly turns into a fictional story where you can also see how you can play with this geospatial environment.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, as a personal testament, I've just done the demo, and I was sort of amazed. It felt very natural, and it's like a different driving experience because you're in a surrounding that you're used to, and you're expecting, oh, this is my standard city route, but suddenly the world opens up, right? Exactly. You're driving around the fountain, and the fountain travels with you, and you hear the fountain, and you see it, and you're not used to that, right? And so it's a very, very different driving experience, really cool. So I loved it.
It becomes very transparent, and you incorporate into the sound experience also like the outside world. This is something radically new. I'm not aware that anyone has done this before. And with Dolby Atmos, you have the perfect platform where our geospatial intelligence platform ties in, and suddenly creators have a completely new canvas to build audio experiences for the car.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, really good. And of course, I love it because we always see like Dolby Atmos is like a platform, right? It's a technology. We have music on it, podcasts, what have you. Now this is a completely new thing, but it's actually using the existing technology. So there's a path to scale new experiences on it.
And I think we are currently on the edge to an era where you have completely new apps and agents in the car that are more personal, more tied to the individual journey. And so our two platforms just build a very nice synthesis on this and say, okay, creators, now you can build something that is really tailored to the journey, that enhances the experience in the car, and is something that is also unique to the car and maybe different each time you go on a trip. I'm always asked about like what are specific use cases. So think about you're starting an application and you get a interactive city tour. So you drive from the airport to the hotel, and you pass by so many sites, and while you drive you're being told on the left you see this, on the right you see this. And now with Dolby Atmos you can also make like ambient sounds that enhance it, and the voice comes from the site, and while you pass by the sound also fades. This is something. Or in the fictional space, think about you're listening to an audiobook, a horror story, and then you drive by an empty building, and suddenly all the sounds at night come from this direction, so it gives you goosebumps and becomes more real. Or a treasure hunt for kids. So you're nearby a harbor, and suddenly characters like pirates show up in the story, or you by a forest, then wizards show up, and so you can use all these real-time interactive elements, and together with your platform, you really get goosebumps because it feels so real.
There's one German question.
Of course.
And you know what it is, right?
No? It's probably data security or driver distraction.
It's the latter.
So how did I know that? No, but of course we take those topics extremely serious. As you know, we started with virtual reality in a car. And for us back then was always, okay, this is a rear seat passenger entertainment solution. You put on VR goggles, and the core of our technology was able to synchronize the car motion and the head motion and do the data fusion so that you had a very realistic experience. You look to the right in your virtual world, you'd be driven around. And we took this kernel of the tech when we pivoted. And also there we took driver distraction very serious by saying, as a driver, you're not actively influencing the content. It's vice versa. The content adapts to your drive. And this is the same logic we also use with our SDK now. You're never motivated to drive faster to achieve something, but while you're on the go, then things unfold. And then, of course, there are some rules you have to follow, but we take this serious.
Definitely. No, I thought the travel guide was supernatural.
Exactly.
The monster game you took me through, I said, oh, okay. That's on the edge.
That's on the edge, exactly. There's probably too much happening, and this is where you have to find a nice balance. But I see also another potential in combining our techs, because we also with with some partners, we get access to object detection in real time or camera feeds. You could also use like the sound system then for alerting the driver by saying, okay, the hazard or the obstacle is on the left-hand side, and the sound really comes from this direction because you can tie the sound to the moving object. And so I think there, besides entertainment, there are also some use cases potentially for safety purposes. But we'll see what creators do with it.
Yeah, super excited. Switching gears a little bit.
To data security?
No. Not done with that part.
Okay, good.
No, more from a business side of things. Yeah. So, who do you see as your? Who do you at this point? Who would you love to talk to? Right. What kind of business? What's your business model? What's your business at the end of the day? What would help you in your next step in scaling? And bringing this to
that's great. I think we follow a very similar path that you have outlined yesterday at the press breakfast. You always say, okay, devices, services, and content. This always needs to be aligned. We also built now the fundament for it's easy to implement in the car via Android Automotive. It can be used in the in-vehicle infotainment system or on your personal devices. We offer all the services, the tool set. And now it's all about the content. So I'd love, in the next step, to talk to studios, to creators that love to explore this radically new format. It hasn't existed before, that you have interactive sounds that really adapt to your journey. Can be simple things like creating playlists that adapt to your route. So place lists, you just say, just where you are, the songs are being, very simple things like this, up to IP holders that maybe say, I want to have a family story, a kid's story, and I want to incorporate like the real world into the story so it becomes more immersive, maybe even interactive parts. So we're looking for creators that like to explore this completely new format and maybe set a benchmark that shows how these new agents and apps and cars will play out. So,
okay, got it. And then talking about that, so I hear you talk about content creators. I guess it's also car OEMs. Are you? But you're a global company, right? I mean, we happen to be in Germany and we're Germans, but that's just a coincidence.
We're headquartered in Singapore, exactly.
See, okay.
So of course, also car manufacturers, and maybe they have ideas like, hey, we want a travel guide, a branded travel guide for our customers. Those things are possible, and we see ourselves as enablers. So we provide the technology. Our business model is a simple license for the technology, for the tool set or for the spatial perception engine. And then no matter if you have audio use cases, video use cases, gaming use cases, that doesn't matter, right? So once the car is enabled, you can do all the things you want to do. And the business model is simply licensed, but we also help building those applications because now we have 10 years of experience, the core team exploring those different formats. And I think we can be also help creating those things, but it's up to the platform.
Culture perspective, do you see like a specific region where this is resonating most?
So when we did our restructuring of the company, we set our headquarters in Singapore because there we have a very nice bridge between China and the Western world. So China has become for us the major market. I'm traveling a lot to China because Chinese customers are very keen on new digital services in their cars. Most of the cars are enabled in a way where you can easily deploy such applications. We had tech feasibilities with partners in China where we arrived in the morning, got access to a car. They opened up a WeChat group. We chatted to their engineers. In Germany, we did the adjustments of our software. The next day, we could deploy it and test it. So within 24 hours, we were able to do a tech feasibility with Chinese partners. So that the speed is insane and the openness for those services and experimenting with it is insane. So that's where we have a strong focus. But also some Western partners are very open for those new formats because it's new business.
I mean, as we know, the whole automotive industry is in in motion, right? A lot of things are in flow. A lot of innovation is coming out of China, but also since like the Western world is starting to catch up, right?
Absolutely.
So,
So we're pretty unique also with our offering in China. There's we have this big advantage that we have worked on our algorithms for a long time. It's very robust. It's almost real time how it reacts, so that you don't have any latency, whether it's visual services or audio services, and also the tool set for creators is very easy to use. And so you can take existing apps and modify them for the car, or you can come up with completely new ones. I'd expect the first interesting application in this domain will be in China first. So that's my best guess at the moment.
One last nerdy question.
Yeah, of course. Love them.
Well, like nerdy sort of. But when you say creator tools, what creators? I mean, are they there in like post production or real time, like Unity, that kind of stuff? How would that relate?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit? about
so everything that is related to visual offerings with our applications or with our services is Unity based. So, but we're open to also work with other game engines, but we focused initially on Unity for all different kinds of reasons. In the audio space, it's a little bit different, so you don't necessarily need to build a Unity app for an audio experience. So we have branched our tool set a little bit into audio and visual experience, but the kernel is the same because you need the real-time data. You want to do this in a very automated way that you just say as a creator, I set a frame, like a creative schema for my experience, and then it will play out on the ride. And it needs to react in the different situations accordingly.
That means if you have, when you think from a creator perspective, I'm creating a story. If they're used to working in Unity and creating the storyline and that kind of stuff, that they will be familiar with the.
So with the tool set, yes. With the tool set, yes. But there is a different thinking needed in how you tell your story. Because traditionally, all the stories are very linear. So as a creator, you come up with a story arc and you orchestrate every single step of your story. Games are more open already. This is our heritage. But games are more open. But now you need to, as a creator, open up a little bit more and say the story can play out slightly different depending on the route the car takes, and you need this openness. So you define more the character, the world, and story beats that are supposed to happen, but they might play out differently on the next ride. So the way you think about content is a different one. And I learned this from two of our advisors, Joe and Anthony Russo. When they create movies, they lock themselves into the writer's room and they define every character, they define every world, every story arc. And then when they do a movie, they take the character and say, okay, this is supposed to happen. And if they do then a prequel or sequel, it's always connecting because they have defined what happens with a character during the time while you might not even see
them.
This is the way you need to approach it. You need to be very clear on how your character acts in certain situations or in which world you're moving, and then you need to let loose a little bit as a creator and say, okay, it might unfold more like in a game because the car and the passengers define how the story might unfold. So it's a new way of thinking. The tool set, and this is the important part. If you're familiar with this, then you can easily build it. But the way you think about content is a different one, which I find personally extremely exciting. So because it opens up a new way to think about it.
And if you do a sequel to this one, I'm already to this talk. I think we would talk a lot about generative AI and how you're using this, because it really sounds like if you define here's the guardrails, but there's a lot of gaps and things, and you probably use AI.
We do. We use LLMs. We use text to speech services, but we have built this in a very modular way. So as an OEM or a creator, if you have your preferred tools or maybe you already have an AI assistant in your car, you can simply plug it in and then define the creative schema, and then it becomes very natural and fits to your ecosystem as a manufacturer or as a creator. But exactly, that's what we're using, and we didn't want to stress the buzzword too much, but exactly,
I get it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, Nils, this was amazing. I learned so much in very short time. This was super nice, super amazing. I think we're just scratching the surface.
Absolutely.
We're just scratching the surface.
I can't wait for our next demo we show together in a few months' time. I think this will be very exciting and show people more how it's becoming tangible.
Okay. Beautiful.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.